Welcome back. This is Chili Davis. I'm back to another video. I'd like to welcome back all my subscribers and all my new viewers. This is a channel where we talk about my top stocks. We do talk about cryptocurrency from time to time, but today we'll be talking about stocks. If you're new, please click that subscribe button and click the notification bell to get my frequent updates. Well, today we'll talk about a few top stocks. We'll also talk about the news, what's going on in the market. Today, some of the top stocks include SoFi, Apple, Visa, and Upstart up $10. SoFi was up $100, and Apple was up 1.33% on the day. So those were some hot stocks today. Just a real quick look at some losers. Nvidia was down slightly today, 5.28%. Tesla was down 1.87%, and Ford was down 2.05%. And Marvel Technologies, I think after a bad earnings call, they dropped over 10%. So lost over $47 there. But if you hadn't got into the in the Nvidia AI craze, today may have been a good time to pick up Nvidia. Today, Nvidia hit an all-time high of $900. After it hit that $900 mark, it did fall back down rapidly over 5%. So if you're looking to start a position in Nvidia, today may have been a good day to do that. Tesla, I'm not quite sure the direction of the stock right now, but it could be a good day to start in Tesla. Okay. Also, just looking back on the Fund Strats, Tom Lee says small cap stocks may be a great place to be as the market heats up. So look at some of your small cap stocks. Earlier this week, we did have Palantir Technologies. So if you watch my community page, I do post. Palantir was up 2% on yesterday. And earlier this week, Palantir Technologies was up over 10%. I think off of good earnings and also acquiring a major contract with the Department of Defense and the Army. Okay, so they got Palantir Technologies got a major contract this week with Department of Defense, and so the stock soared over 10%. And remember, this stock has bounced back from $16 a share all the way up to $26 a share. Okay. That's the news pretty much this week. Of course, Nvidia AI stock has still been going crazy. Today I'll share with you my M1 finance portfolio really quickly. And as you can see, some of the stocks that I own in this portfolio, as you can see, I own 6 shares of Nvidia, up over 327% for a gain of over $4,000. Also, Netflix, one that I got into late, I didn't pile into it, which I should have, up only 31% after they bounced back after the crackdown on multiple account users. My gains on that is up over $675 on initial investment of $400. And on Microsoft, my initial investment over $1,000 is up over 38% for a gain of $651. And I think that's about it. But the main one is Nvidia. Okay, so sometimes you invest in 5 or 6 stocks, one goes crazy. In this case, it was Nvidia. And so I invest in this portfolio week to week, month to month, $50 a week. And over time, dollar cost averaging, initial cost basis of $1,200 has turned into over $5,000. Okay, so that's the update on my M1 finance portfolio. Now let's go over to the news. Okay, here we are on CNBC, and the news is here. We have Dow Jones closed down today, down 0.18%. S&P closed down today 0.65%, and the NASDAQ closed down 1.16%, and the Russell 2000 This is mainly your small cap stocks closed down. But we did see a lot of gains this week in NASDAQ stocks. So don't be frightened by this. If you have once a week, twice a week red in stocks, it's an opportunity to actually buy. All right. So we did have a lot of NASDAQ stocks heat up this week, such as Nvidia, AMD, and I'll go over some of these stocks in my Charles Schwab account in a moment. All right, so in the news, we have Sam Altman rejoins OpenAI board. Okay, so OpenAI has a strategic partnership with Microsoft, and basically that's what's caused the whole Microsoft stock to balloon and see record heights this past year is their partnership with OpenAI. So a lot of tools that Microsoft is rolling out, such as GPT, which is it? Copilot. Okay, so Copilot, OpenAI, and other AI tools that Microsoft rolling out, they're working with OpenAI. Says here Microsoft is blocking some terms. Its AI tool basically has been known to create violent and other sexual images. So Microsoft is getting to block some of these terms. Says Nvidia is one of the most overbought stocks on Wall Street after this week's massive rally. And again, if we saw the Nvidia stock, it jumped almost nearly 10% in a day this week. Okay, so be cautious if you're buying into Nvidia now. Buy on the pullbacks. Don't buy on the hype. Don't buy on the days it hits $900 per share. Remember, it just last week hit over $700 per share. This week it hit $900 per share. In fact, let's go ahead and look at Nvidia real quick. Okay, here we are looking at the Nvidia stock up this past week, 6.23%. Okay, so you would have gained over $49 on the stock over the past week in Nvidia, like I did. If we look at the chart, last week it was trading at $832, and earlier today it was trading at $953 per share. Okay, so that is huge. There has been price targets for Nvidia to go up to $1,000 per share, and there is projections that the Nvidia stock will split again, but it did see a huge sell-off late in the day, and it drove the stock back down $852 per share. But just think about this: Nvidia is just overbought, as that article was saying on CNBC. It's overbought. So you want to buy, if you want to get into the AI stock, basically you want to buy on the pullbacks. Don't buy on the green days. Like I said, up 20%, so up quite a bit in 1 week. And then it ended up closing to make it look like it was up only 6%. But it was so much excitement about the stock early in the day. This thing jumped up over 18% in 1 week. Okay. And then it turned around and lost 6%. Now, the only way you could have made off on this, you could have made off on this on calls, but then you could have turned back around and made money off of puts, okay, on the stock being driven down. But something like this jumping up over 18% in a week, that's massive, okay? So, sometimes you want to sell when it does this, and those gains are just huge, especially like somebody like myself. I'm up over 300% in this particular stock, whether it's the Robinhood or in my M1, I'm up quite a bit, over 100%. So again, if you want to get into the AI stocks, you got to wait for the pullbacks, the red days. Okay, so as we saw today, the stock did close down 5%, but earlier in the day it was up over let's see, that was 6% minus 18. So in 1 day it was up over 12% in early hours, and then it turned around and sold off. Okay, Nvidia, very powerful, as again stated, the stock will split in the future, but that's probably the stock of the day. Nvidia jumping up over to nearly $900, $972 per share. Okay, so again, if you were doing calls, you would have made out like a massive bandit on Nvidia. That's Nvidia. up over 12% in one day, and then it turned around and dropped over 12%. All right, so that's the news there. Let's go back to the news and see CNBC has going on here. Novo Nordisk wins FDA approval for heart benefits, which could expand insurance coverage. And Senate passes major government funding bill just in time to prevent government shutdown. Okay. Well, one more article here. Bitcoin briefly rises over 70,000. So if you're into Bitcoin, it did briefly hit 70,000 and fall back. So if you're into crypto, I got a little crypto, but I'm not really that big into it, okay? But today Bitcoin did hit 70,000. If I was someone going into crypto, I would go into some of the altcoins, maybe and possibly Ethereum right now. But Bitcoin is probably going to top out soon, but who knows? All right, so lastly, we go over to the Charles Schwab account. Okay, here we are in the Charles Schwab account. As I stated, today was a down day. If we look at the portfolio overall, we were down $478. We were at a high of over 44,000 in this portfolio, but today it dropped another $500. No surprise there, just small, slight variance. SoFi Technologies today up over 4.15% for a gain of $97. Apple shares up slightly today, 0.88% for a gain of $17. American Tower up $14 for a gain of 1%. And let's see, what else do I like here? I think I like anything. Block or Square, Block shares were up today, 4.65%. I basically sold out of this position. But this was a really hot stock in 2022, not so much in 2024, but today it can be making its way back. I think it is faring better than PayPal. I do own PayPal as well. PayPal today slightly up 0.97, but I think as far as fintech, Square is seeming like it's in better position than PayPal. Remember, Square does have the Cash App, so they do gain revenue from that. But anyway, today one of the top stocks is Block, or otherwise known as Square. Okay, so those were some top stocks. If you were in the market for buying stock today, some of those losers, as we mentioned, was Nvidia was down slightly today, 5.55%. But if you saw that earlier in the day, it was up over 12%, and later it did a quick correction. Tesla, the same, was up earlier in the day, and then it turned around, down 1.85%. And Advanced Micro Devices, or AMD, was down slightly, 1.8%. But if you look over here in my column, my gains on AMD is a little over 2,500. And my gains on Nvidia on this portfolio is over $3,000 as well. Okay, so it really doesn't matter if you own Nvidia or Advanced Micro Devices or Microsoft, you've done quite well. Okay, as you can see, Microsoft down slightly, 0.95%. So still doing good there. And Amazon this year. Amazon's part of the boom too. Some call it the Magnificent Seven. Amazon shares were slightly down today, so you could have took advantage of that, and you'd have been be able to buy into that as well. Also, you might not saw this, AeroEnvironment today was up slightly this week. I think after earnings, they were up a little over 28%. And of course, Palantir Technologies, they were up 10% earlier this week as well. So both of these two stocks this week had super moves. Palantir was up 10% and AeroEnvironment was up over 28%. But those were just singular moves, no big deal. You know, the overall arching picture this year is still artificial intelligence. Okay, so that's about it. That's all I got for today. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Please like, share the videos. I hope to see you in the next one. and everybody have a great week.